Ahoy there, welcome to Rated Aargh. Thank you for joining us on this month's episode of The Captain's Log. My name is Ryan and I'm joined by Christian and Braxton this month. We've got a great show in store for you, but first, let's roll the intro.
Captain's log, oh log, we keep on grooving. Let's go! Across the seas, those waves are moving. Whoa! Every note, every jot, we keep on cruising. Captain's log, go! We ain't losing. Ooh, yeah! Ooh, yeah!
All right, guys, welcome into this month's episode of The Captain's Log. I'm joined by Christian and Braxton. Guys, I'm glad to finally get you guys on an episode of The Captain's Log. I know this is only the second one, but the first one being by myself is kind of weird. I'll put it that way.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me on my own show.
It is kind of hard to monologue it, but
It worked out okay.
Well, this is sort of the in between.
Did you
we
name
can
it?
talk about whatever we want.
Never mind.
Did we?
That was a bad joke.
Where are you about to? You wait. In the second that me finishing my sentence made you rethink your joke.
I was going to say you should have called it The Captain's Log, but Logue, like short for monologue.
Yeah,
If it was just you. That would have been.
The captain's
Funny, I think.
log.
Yeah, genius, man.
You sly dog. You got
how
me
are you guys?
monologuing.
Yeah, you sly dog. How are you guys doing? Y'all been good?
Yeah, pretty good.
I know we had our fantasy draft this past weekend. How do you guys
crap,
feel about
we
your
did?
teams? Oh my gosh, you were
Just kidding.
here for it. Come on, man.
Just kidding.
How do you guys feel about your teams to start the season?
I feel good. I think
Yeah?
this first game, it says me and Ryan are evenly matched, so I'm curious to see how it's going to go.
You're going down. You're going down, sucker.
Braxton, I had a question. So I submitted a hypothetical trade to you. Have you not seen it, or have you just declined it?
Okay.
It's been
I gotta have some feedback.
Okay, I just saw the notification pop up on my phone while I was doing something else, so I swiped it away. I didn't even look at who sent it to me. I intended to look back at it, but I forgot. So,
When did you send this? We drafted Saturday.
the day
Today's Monday.
after.
It was like 30 minutes after or something, I think. I don't know.
No, it wasn't
it
that
was.
quick, but it was. What trade did you want?
I don't remember. I know it was
You don't even
beneficial.
remember?
It was some.
You're gonna say it's
bench-
beneficial to me?
Well, it's beneficial to both. I
Right.
think it would strengthen both of our benches. I was giving you 2 players for one of your bench players
Okay.
that I saw you getting more value than I would actually get. But based on how I drafted, I would like some additional bench support where I feel like you are adequately covered.
Okay.
So we can discuss it further. We don't have to discuss it on the podcast.
Right, we'll discuss that later. Especially with me. This won't have
Okay.
anything to do with me playing Ryan the first week, would it?
No.
Okay, that's right. That's what I thought.
No.
Yeah, sure it doesn't. I smell collusion already. Brett straight up talked about it in the middle of the chat during the draft.
He's like, "Hey, who wants to collude?"
I think he specifically called out our friend Cade and was like, "Cade, me and you
Like,
this year."
have you ever seen that kid show with the bald guy? Let's do that.
Oh my gosh,
Get it? Kaloo? Or wait, or is it Caillou?
it's Caillou. That is not getting
Well,
cut from
that's
the
it.
episode.
That's it for this week, folks.
That's definitely not getting cut.
Nothing's going to be funnier than that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, quickly, I want to get into Ryan's Recs. I called them Ryan's Recs because that was my segment last time. I'm sure if you guys have some Recs, you can put those into Ryan's Recs as well. But on the last episode of The Captain's Log, I did briefly talk about Trap. It was coming out in theaters. We did get to watch it. I've actually watched it twice, once by myself, once with Christian. So I'll get Christian's input here in a minute. But if you haven't seen it yet, it's great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's kind of... Probably like the first 45 minutes is like at a concert that they actually like wrote music for and shot, which was freaking cool. And then after that, I think it potentially has one of like the I don't even know that I would say it's the best Shyamalan twist, but it's better than like a couple of the last ones. That's like, oh, it's real. Like, come on. I don't know. I just didn't appreciate that kind of a twist. So I enjoyed it. Christian, I want to know what your opinions are on Trap.
I was entertained throughout. I liked the first act much better than I liked the second act, and then I know you're kind of like the opposite. You really like when they leave the concert.
Yeah.
I was much more.
The first act was great too.
Yeah, I was, and then I've seen other people claim that it would have been a much better movie if they would have switched certain things around. But I don't know. Like, I like the idea of this cat and mouse opening where you know who this protagonist, which is also the kind of the antagonist of the movie.
Yeah.
And you're kind of on his side for a little bit. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite movie. It wasn't my favorite Shyamalan movie, but I really applaud the originality of everything. And I like that he's one of the few that's not coming out with the exact same movie framework, the exact same script. On Letterboxd, my review was the main character is a serial killer called the Butcher. And my review on Letterboxd, I gave it a solid 3 out of 5, which it's like enjoyable. And I said maybe the real Butcher was the friends we made along the way. So that was my Letterboxd review of it.
That's a great review.
Oh man, I love Trap, dude. I thought it was great. I think I put it probably initially in like my top like 4 Shyamalan movies. So it's probably going to live there for a little bit. It maybe just get bumped down like top 5. But I really enjoyed that one. I thought it was great. And then we also watched Alien Romulus, which was fantastic. Braxton, do you have any thoughts on Alien Romulus?
I kind of preferred Alien Remus, but no. That actually is the Romulus and Remus thing is in the movie slightly. That they actually sort of.
It's the name of the ship.
Yeah, it's the name of the ship. Different sides of the ship.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. It was good. Now me and Ryan watched Alien like the day before we went and saw it.
It was a couple days before, but it was really recent.
But we hadn't seen it before, which is surprising, I'm sure, to some. But I liked watching Alien, and I liked watching Alien Romulus, and it scared me probably more than another movie has. And I think I've kind of realized why, and it's sort of the body horror element of it, and just seeing something weird and like wrong, like visually.
Just like the alien itself
bothers me.
Or
Yeah, the alien itself and the other things in the movie.
okay.
But yeah, that got me, and it's not. It didn't scare me in the way of like, you know. Like a jump scare necessarily, even though there was
there was a jump scare that scared me, and that was the only thing I was scared of in the whole movie.
But it's a movie that made me go like constantly throughout, be like, like I'm trying to figure out the sound that I make, which is something like like disgusted shock.
Yeah, that sounds like a Braxton noise.
And so yeah. It was good with what it did.
I mean, I enjoyed it. Christian, have you seen it yet?
No, I've not seen any of those movies.
Okay. We've only seen Alien and Alien Romulus now. We're going to watch Aliens and Alien 3 at some point because apparently those are both really good. Or at least Aliens is good. Mm-hmm. I've heard it potentially is better than the original one. So I'm interested to see that one and kind of get what our opinions are on that. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I've watched recently that I actually really enjoyed, other than one specific thing, was Blink Twice. And the thing that I did not appreciate was that I went with our friend Matthew to watch this, and he agreed with me. He said the same thing. It's kind of I really liked Michael's review of this, Christian, where he was like. It was like a combination of like 3 sort of newer movies, one of which was Bodies, 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 which I could kind of see. But it was really good. I enjoyed it. The only thing was that the sound effects in it were like ungodly loud.
Like mixed wrong.
Well, they were mixed that way on purpose. It was not wrong.
Well, I don't know. I feel like a lot of sound mixes in movies recently are wrong. Like there are people who don't know how to do it right.
No, this was done intentionally, and you could tell that it was done intentionally. But it was so loud, like it was unbearably loud, especially on some of like the door slams and stuff. Because essentially they're going to this like private island that Channing Tatum's character owns, and because he's like a tech billionaire or something. And he's got a lot of issues, which is part of the deal in the movie too. But they go to this island, and like the house, I think he says is like some of the doors are like 600-year-old doors and stuff, and so they're like loud and creaky and all that. But like there's several times where just sounds is enough to like jump scare you, and they were unbelievably loud, like louder than any other movie that I think I've ever seen, sound effects wise. And I said something about that immediately after the movie, and Matt also agreed with me that he was like, dude, yeah, they were way too loud. Like the whole movie was really, I felt like too loud. So I don't know if it was something in that theater specifically, because I feel like most of the time when we go to Studio Movie Grill, like it's almost too quiet, and it was like the complete opposite for this one. Yeah.
Weird. Maybe they had it like turned up too loud.
I don't know. Maybe. But you could tell like in the mix too, like dialogue would be like it's like very easy to hear, like it's very audible. But the sound effects, it was like they had compressed them and made them really loud, so they just like hit really hard. It was.
It might be one of those things where stuff, like in my opinion, where it is a choice, but it's a wrong choice.
I mean,
kind of like in Nolan movies where like he makes the dialogue sound like this, and you're like, "What did you just say?" It's an art style, not being able to hear the characters. It makes you lean closer towards the screen. What, Nolan? What did you say?
I'm impressed that you just talked like that.
Did it kind of work?
Consistently, yeah.
That's what it's like watching like Tenet sometimes. You're like, what did you just say?
I don't have a problem hearing stuff like that. I know that's like one of the main complaints, especially about Tenet. But like when I've watched, which I didn't go watch Tenet in theaters, granted, because it came out in like the middle of 2020. But when I've watched it before, I didn't have any issues with it. So
I will say, I could be wrong. I swear, I think they've adjusted it and fixed it somewhat on like the
you think
release.
So?
I think so, because when we watched it later, I could understand more of it than when I was in like the IMAX theater.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe so. I am interested to see Interstellar. I know that's one we have on the radar. It's supposed to re-release for a 10th anniversary in December. So we're going to try to watch that in 70 millimeter IMAX. Hopefully I can get tickets. I'll look for tickets like once a week at least. So Tars. I know Christian's going to be excited.
What's the thing you always used to say, Christian?
I got kids, Professor.
The fact that was in your head so long, Christian, you said it so many times, and now when prompted, what did you used to say? You don't even remember.
I got kids.
Hey, sometimes we get hooked on things sometimes, and we just keep repeating them, right?
No kidding. So I've also been watching. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I've been watching Sex Education on Netflix, which is actually like really good. Emma Mackey's in it. She's like one of the main lead actresses in it. And the whole time I'm watching this, because I just started it this weekend, and the whole time that I'm watching this, I'm looking at her and I'm like, man, who is this? She looks just like Margot Robbie. Only to find out it was Emma Mackey, who is like famously known to look very similar to Margot Robbie.
Really? I guess she does. I'm looking at a picture right now. I feel like in some ways she does, but other ways she doesn't.
I agree with that. But they specifically put her in Barbie because of that.
Okay.
Which, I mean, she probably would have been in it anyway. But
interesting.
I know that was like one of the talks about her being in Barbie was that they look so similar. I'm going to guess you guys probably have not seen that.
No, I haven't.
I mean, it's interesting. So it's one of
Christian,
those Netflix
I haven't started to watch
ones where,
Shogun yet, but it's on my list.
I haven't watched Shogun either. Christian, do you want to talk about Shogun briefly?
scripted historical season of television ever.
Whoa.
I had low expectations for it. I remember at like the Super Bowl or something seeing an ad for it, like a trailer. I was like, it looks kind of cool, but it was one of those things where it was like, here's this FX show that's probably pretty cool, high budget, but no one's ever going to watch it. Yeah, because it's going to be shown on FX and everyone's going to forget about it.
It's really on FX? That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. It was an FX show. Yeah, it's an FX show. So it was also supposed to only be one season. It was supposed to be a limited series based on a book, and there was a series of it in the past. And it's funny because when you go back to the announcement of, I mean, we're talking like a decade ago when they first announced that this show would be taking place. They went through COVID and all sorts of like shutdowns and all kinds of stuff to where it was a miracle that this thing even happened. But when they announced that FX had funding for it and it was greenlit, there were so many people that were like, oh, we liked the show in the 80s. We don't need a new one. Like, it's not going to be good. And it ends up being like the greatest.
Interesting, yeah.
Like, a lot of people have compared it to Game of Thrones in terms of budget and look and feel, and then said this is even better.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by it.
I haven't heard that, but it's a bold claim.
It has the coolest premise ever. So there's like a power vacuum existing in, I think the year is 1700.
Dang, they had power vacuums back then?
Yep.
Oh my god.
And there are different kind of like factions, different kind of sub-kingdoms throughout Japan with all these different leaders. And it is essentially told through the eyes of a sailor that ends up in 1700s Japan and has to like learn the culture and the language around him very quickly. And then you learn pretty early on that there's a very good chance that he was a pirate, that he is a pirate, and that's how he got to Japan. And then I was like, okay, I'm hooked.
He's a pirate.
I'm looking up about the original series from the 80s, and I'm kind of intrigued. I would want to watch that too. I might watch the new one and then like go back and watch that one.
Yeah, and the costumes of the ones in the 80s are very funny.
Yeah, I bet.
Very MXC.
Yeah, that's a good description.
Like it feels like it's that budget level. But that is probably my favorite thing I have seen this year.
Interesting.
That's cool.
Was not expecting it to be good, and then I saw the first 30 seconds of it and the text that came up on screen, and the first shot is of a ship coming through the fog, and I was like,
okay,
this is for me. Also seen some very good things lately. The Wailing.
Oh yeah, you told me about that one. I haven't got to watch it yet.
The Wailing or the Whaling?
The Wailing, no
Wailing.
H.
Like the screaming.
Wailing. Yes, sir.
South Korean psychological horror movie. Amazing. The South Koreans know how to make movies. I recommend that one. Watch Killers of the Flower Moon for the first time.
Oh, yeah?
Way too long.
I kind of agree with that.
Have you watched the 48 hours of extended Napoleon footage yet?
No, but I was watching First 48 last night. The Sea of Trees, the movie where Matthew McConaughey goes to the suicide forest in Japan. I watched that one. I recommend that
and
one
he's
if
the
you
YouTuber?
haven't seen it.
Shut up, man.
Watched another, what I thought was going to be like a horror jump scare movie called You Won't Be Alone. It's a European production.
Is that on Hulu?
I think so.
I think I've seen that one. I haven't watched it though.
I loved that one. It was pretty cool. Rewatched Manchester by the Sea. That's an amazing movie. But the big news that I have is that I have added a tag to Letterboxd. And the tag is Rated Aargh Official Selection. So if you guys want to review our movies on Letterboxd, or if any fans want to review the movies themselves, you can tag it with a rated Aargh official selection, and everything will be right there.
Interesting. Okay.
Cool.
Heck yeah. Wait, so does that mean that it's only stuff that we've done on the main podcast, or it can be anything that we like? What does that mean?
I had in mind the movies that we've done on the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
So,
we can
like,
come up with a
they
different
could
tag
watch-
for a recommendation.
Right. I
They
just
could
was
go
wanting to make
watch
sure I understood.
Cutthroat Island and tag rated
Right.
Aargh official selection, and then
Right, that they
find
watched
reviews.
it in.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. I like that.
That's really cool. I do have one more thing. Braxton, you may have watched this when we were little. Christian, I don't know if you would have or not.
Probably not.
So I found on Disney Plus this weekend a show that I remember watching quite a bit. And the interesting thing about this show is that it's not one of the more popular movies that Disney did, but it's, I think, one of their best ones, and somehow got a spin-off movie about a character and a full-blown TV show. And that is The Emperor's New School. Have you do you remember watching that?
Yes, I watched it. It wasn't like my main one by any means, but yes, it was on.
Yeah.
And I watched some of it. I never
I found it on Disney Plus.
The premise confused me because what bothered
It
me
doesn't make
about
any
it.
sense.
No, it really doesn't. Essentially, it's an alternate universe where they take the same characters and put them in a high school. Because by the logic of the movie, none of them know each other later on. So how could they go to school together?
What do you mean?
Like, isn't Pacha a character and Kronk a character?
Yes, but this is all post the movies.
No, they're like
For
kids.
some reason, no. This is post movie because he's living in the show with Pacha and his family because he can't live in the palace. I rewatched like the first several episodes and it
Wait, are you
explains
gonna
some of
explain
this.
the premise of Emperor's New School
Yes,
to me?
yes.
But
So
why does he go to
Emperor's New-
school? He's an adult man.
I don't. This is what makes no sense. So I don't
Wait,
even
is
know
it
if
like
he's
Billy
technically an
Madison?
adult. I don't even know if he's technically an adult man. Okay, but
Well, yeah, he's a llama.
This takes place after the movie. I don't know if it takes place before or after Krunk's New Groove. But he
the canon
lives
of-
with Pacha and the family in this because he can't live in the palace because they won't let him be emperor until he's completed high school for some freaking
It's
reason.
freaking Billy Madison. They Billy Madison did.
So, yeah. But it's entertaining. I enjoyed
Well,
watching
yeah.
some episodes.
Okay, now I kind of want to watch it.
Yeah, yeah.
What made you pick that on Disney Plus?
It showed up. And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember this. And so
Yeah.
I wanted to watch it from like the first episode. Because, we were watching it as kids on
Yeah.
TV. It's
Right,
just
you never
in
knew what the
whatever
first
comes
episode
on.
was.
Yeah.
Which
So-
that always did bother me as a kid. I kind of wish that you could be like, it bothered me that they aired them randomly. Like I would have wanted to watch it
Yeah.
in order.
Yeah.
Little did I know
Like-
that 10 years later they would invent something called the streaming service, and then I could do that as much as I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I probably watched season 2 of Avatar before I watched season 1 for most of it.
What? Oh,
Because
the
it
last
would always
Airbender.
be like book 2 Earth. I swear they never showed anything from the third season. No.
We talked about this before. I swear they aired all those episodes once, and then in reruns they never aired season 3 like again.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch
Yeah,
it
you-
until it was put on Netflix in like 2014.
And you'd always see like the first episode a lot. You'd see like some of the
The one where they go
other
through the canyon.
season 1 episodes. Secret tunnel.
Yes.
Secret tunnel through the mountain. Secret tunnel. You'd see that one a lot. You'd see
The Kyoshi
maybe the
Island one.
where. Yeah, you'd see that one a lot.
What are we talking
Yeah.
about?
We're talking about Avatar, man.
I
What do
know.
you mean?
The one where they go to the Air Kingdom and there's a guy with the balloon. No?
Yeah, that one didn't ring a bell off the top of my head.
Because they talk about gas having a rotten egg smell. Like the guy invented putting a rotten egg smell in gas. Because like it explodes. I remembered that.
Gotcha. Did you have any recommendations, Braxton? Before we move on?
I was trying to think of what in the world I've watched recently, and I put it. We're letterbox users, obviously.
Yep.
But I put it on my letterbox. There's a movie called Stranger Than Fiction, starring Will Ferrell.
Okay.
Have you all ever heard of that or seen it? It's a good movie, and it's not just like a straight up comedy. It's sort of drama comedy, but it's got a really interesting, cool concept. And I rewatched it because I got the Blu-ray at Game Exchange, and it's worth a rewatch for sure if you haven't seen it. But even if you saw it like back when it came out in like 2006, I think. It's a good movie, and it lets Will Ferrell be like a character, and not like Ricky Bobby, the whole movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it actually shows him acting.
Cool. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Woo! That was Ricky Bobby.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, I know. All right. Well, point of the Captain's Log, too, is to recap the movie we already did. So the last movie that we did is Cutthroat Island.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you haven't watched that episode yet, I would definitely recommend it. That's potentially one of the better episodes we've done.
Yeah, I think it was good.
That movie was a complete disaster, is what we basically figured out. And it's probably not worth your time, honestly, if I'm being 100%
watch the
real.
YouTube clips of it.
Yeah, just watch the YouTube clips. Did you guys
Play
have
the
any
game.
other like final thoughts or anything on Cutthroat Island? Anything that's come up since we watched it and did the episode on it? The only thing I have is we talked about in that episode it being the biggest box office fail of all time. And there was a movie that came out recently called Borderlands that I went to go watch, even though it was deemed terrible before I saw it. And it had one of the smallest box office weekends like in a long time. And I saw an article or like a headline or something on Facebook, and basically it just said Borderlands on track to be the biggest box office flop of all time. And I screenshotted it and I sent it to Christian Braxton and said, Cutthroat Island might get dethroned.
Yeah.
I think by the end of the weekend and by the time that it actually, because I think it's still maybe in theaters. I don't know if it is or not. But I think by the time it got done with its like run, I think it basically had made enough to where it wouldn't have been the biggest box office flop. That movie was awful. I think I'm probably the only one of the three of us that watched it. And it's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing. I kind of told you, Braxton, it was kind of like they took a bunch of different like scripts. Like they had a PG version and maybe a PG-13 version and maybe a rated R one. And they kind of like pulled lines from all three of them and even like maybe meshed some of them together. And it just like did
That's
not
never
work
a good
at all.
recipe.
Yeah, well, and it was interesting to me too because I'm pretty sure it got a PG-13 rating, and the games are all rated M. Like, why would you not make a
equivalent of
rated
an
R
R
movie for that?
And they hired Eli Roth, an R-rated film director.
Yeah, it just didn't make any sense to me. So, like, you're not going to take a small child to watch a Borderlands movie. Like, that's something that
Yeah.
more.
But don't you
adult people are
understand?
gonna
You have to
watch at
expand
this
the
point.
audience to everyone.
No, man.
And then by
No,
expanding
they-
to everyone, they interest no one.
Yeah, it sucked. It sucked. It's bad when Critical like makes a video with him and his buddies in the hotel room after just completely dogging on it, man. Did you watch that?
Yes. And it made
It
me
was
laugh.
hilarious. And I was listening to it and I was like, wait, this is all the problems I had with this too, which was great. I felt validated. Anything at Cutthroat Island wise though from you guys?
No, just the more I think about it, the more I realize that the title is really cool and the poster looks really cool.
Yeah.
And the movie doesn't live up to that.
Yeah, I will say the next movie that's coming out actually like next week from when we're recording this. I'll try to have this up before then. We're kind of late on the Captain's Log. I've been working on football stuff pretty heavily. We've all been busy, so this one's coming probably a little later than I would like for it to have between the movies, but. There was a scene in Captain Blood, which is the next movie that we're doing, which is a 1935 Errol Flynn movie. We've already recorded it at this point. Like, it's in the works on the editing floor. And there is a scene in Captain Blood that was eerily similar to Cutthroat Island. And we talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
In the episode, which is another gigantic ship explosion, which I'm not even sure they actually filmed for that movie. I think that was actually probably taken from a different movie.
Right.
But I just wonder if that kind of inspired Rennie Harlan some, because like the ship like explosion and the like framing of it and it was very similar.
Yeah, maybe. They knew they wanted some big finale, and they saw maybe it in that movie, and were like, well, we could do it.
We just need to blow it up
bigger and better.
Yeah. What did you guys think? I don't want to like give too much away on the episode, but what did you guys think about Captain Blood, just like in general? Because I thought it was kind of meh. I think Christian's Letterbox said like something along the lines of like,
yeah,
great for pirate cinema. Yeah, go ahead, read it. I got a kick out of it.
2.5 stars, right down the middle. Hugely important to pirate cinema, ... and hugely boring.
Yeah. Its historical significance is much higher than its entertainment value now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it was like groundbreaking for the time. Like we kind of talked about it, where it was like average runtime was about an hour 20 minutes, and this was 2 hours. Like, I mean, if you went and watched this in 1935 in theater somewhere, like you got your money's worth, man, for a 2-hour movie.
Oh yeah.
So, and I almost feel like maybe we have the expectation now watching pirate movies for like there to be pirate things happening. And this one took so long to get to that point that maybe we were just kind of like, not that great. So I don't know if maybe that had maybe played a little bit into it. So yeah, it's, I mean, I don't know that it's worth the watch if you want to do it before the next episode. It is 2 hours, and you'll probably have to rent it or unless you can find it somewhere. So just keep that in mind. I think this one is probably fine to listen to the episode and I think you could listen to it and maybe decide after the fact whether or not you want to watch it too.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah, if it piques your interest.
Yeah.
Now we were going to talk a little bit about essentially about box office bombs.
Mm-hmm.
So I've pulled up just on Wikipedia. Ranked adjusted for inflation amount of losses.
Okay.
Now, they point out that a lot of these are not exact, of course, because of Hollywood accounting. Right. It's hard to know exactly how much.
Some of the stuff in like old budgets is kind of just up in the air too for how much it actually cost.
Right, exactly. And at some point, the inflation, even though you can adjust for it, it's still not the exact equivalent.
Yeah, it's kind of.
But according to this, filtered adjusted for inflation, John Carter, that Disney movie,
I don't know,
is like the highest bombing movie of all time.
When did that come out?
2012.
John Carter.
You don't know my problem with that movie?
I saw that on Disney Plus too. Never heard of it.
Well, it's stupid because think about this: the movie is called, or the book that is written like based on. It was written in like the 1890s by the guy who wrote Tarzan. The book is called John Carter.
And then they screwed it up that bad.
It was called John Carter of Mars. And it was like a sci-fi book, right? The pull was, why is there a guy with a regular name, John Carter? Why is he of Mars? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they called the movie John Carter. Like, it could be anything. It could be Richard Jewell or any other movie that's just named after a guy.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and they picked like the most basic name too.
Yeah. Well, that was the original concept of the title, was that it was a basic name. Yeah. Why is this basic human?
But he's on
from
Mars. Yeah.
Anyway, the movie's fine, but supposedly they spent like 260.
Is it live action
Yeah,
or is it animated?
live action. They spent 260 million and it made like 100. Well, actually, they don't have that on here. Its losses were estimated between 150 to 260 million, so it may not have even made back its budget.
That's bad.
That's real bad.
That's real bad.
And this is interesting here because as it goes down the list, and this isn't exact, but there's several Disney movies in here. The order it goes is John Carter, The Lone Ranger, The Marvels, The 13th Warrior.
The Marvels is on there?
Yeah. Mortal Engines.
Oh, man. What is that?
Cutthroat Island.
What is Mortal Engines?
It was a book series, I think. And then they made a really crappy movie.
What is that about?
You're not prepared because it's really stupid.
It sounds like Cars, but there's two of them and they just race the whole time.
You know, like the City of London?
No.
Like the concept of the City of London or the City of Paris or New York?
No.
You're familiar with those cities, yes?
No.
I'm trying to play up how stupid this idea is. They took that city, and just like in SpongeBob, they push it somewhere else. There's cities built on top of moving machines. Like they took London and put it on top of a giant car. That's the movie.
Yeah, that's dumb. That's really dumb.
If that's not the movie, let me know in the comments and if I'm misunderstanding it, but I swear that's what it is.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Interesting about pirates, just below Cutthroat Island is Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas.
Oh.
Then Strange World, Battleship,
Sinbad
Mars
World.
Needs Moms.
Mars Needs Moms. Mm-hmm. That's a movie? That sounds like something that would be like
I think that's
X-rated.
a Disney movie.
That sounds kind of dirty.
Other sort of, I'm just going to name off any other movies that might be relevant to us, essentially, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, Matrix Resurrections, Treasure Planet, another pirate movie, Moonfall, also a favorite movie of Critical's.
Oh, Moonfall is?
Yeah.
I kind of wish I did buy that one when it was super cheap at Best Buy.
Yeah.
Just to have it. And
Gemini Man, that Will Smith movie with his son. Wish. Battlefield Earth, that Scientology movie with John Travolta as the alien.
a bunch of these are like recent Disney movies.
Yeah.
Not a good look for Disney. That's why they're making Doctor Doom. What is it? Secret Wars and Doomsday or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that what that one's called? Avengers Doomsday?
I'm not sure what it's going to be called. Transformers The Last Night, R.I.P.D. Isn't that one you're familiar with, Christian? I feel like you've talked about R.I.P.D. before. I don't know why.
What is that? Like Rhode Island Police Department?
No, it's basically it's a whole. Don't you hate it when there's a movie they wrote the title first and then they wrote the movie?
Yeah,
It's called R.I.P.D. because R.I.P. like rip, like you're dead.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
It's basically a cop dies and becomes a ghost, and then he becomes a ghost cop.
Why didn't they just call it like Ghost Cop?
Because R.I.P.D. was the whole like pun that the movie was predicated on.
That's pretty funny.
It does star Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds, so it shouldn't have been bad.
Oh gosh,
But I think it was.
that's crazy.
Speaking of Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern.
That's before everything Ryan Reynolds touched turned to gold.
Yeah, same thing with Green
So
Lantern.
is Green Lantern.
The Around the World in 80 Days, the one that had Jackie Chan in it, which I love that movie.
I think I've only seen that like once. It's been a long time.
The 2017 The Mummy.
Is that the one with Cruise?
With Cruise in it. Tenet. But that's probably because it was a COVID movie.
Yeah. Not fair.
The 2023 Haunted Mansion.
For real?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of these movies.
Okay, this is the last one that would be significant to us, I think. Well, there's two here. One is Cowboys and Aliens.
Okay. Never seen that.
It's not that great. But it is interesting. Again, a great title squandered on a mediocre movie.
Yeah. That's a problem.
The film. Are you familiar with the movie Zoom? I guess not.
No, I'm familiar with the movie Zathura.
Zathura wasn't on the list, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Also
But
saw that
Zoom
one
was
on
that
Disney
Tim
Plus this
Allen
weekend.
superhero movie.
No. That sounds like a movie about COVID.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Zoom was okay. It did give us a Smash Mouth song that was never released on an album.
How'd it go?
What? It's called So Insane.
How'd it go?
I don't know it well enough to sing it.
Sure you do. Give it a
I
shot.
don't.
Come on, man. Do it for the
I don't
YouTube
remember.
short.
I don't know it is because it's not on Spotify or anything. I don't listen to it as often.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, I'm an avid
It's a
Smash
problem.
Mouth listener.
I bet you are. Hey now.
Yeah.
Well, I guess before we get out of here, Braxton, you did have a video that you wanted to show us.
It's not going to be worth it. Maybe we should save it till another time.
Why?
It's not going to be worth it unless
Wait,
you
what?
really, really want to.
Yeah,
You want to?
sure.
Okay.
It's so blurry. I can't hardly see their hands.
17 years ago, this was uploaded.
This is 17 years ago.
My name is Sharky and I'm part of the crew. I've got a pirate rap just for you. We're sailing these seas to let you know it's not always cool to go with the flow. Ha ha ha.
How do you feel about Sharky the puppet pirate?
What the frick is happening?
He's a puppet pirate that I believe is rapping
Never
about
mind,
Christianity.
Let's take a look. Who's this a coming? It's Captain Hook. He's a hero of kids and a parent's friend. He's using his hook to an admirable end. Ha ha ha.
What I want to know is,
Oh my god.
all right, we can stop it here. What I
Okay.
want to know is why not even pirates were immune from having rap thrust upon them
I'm
in
so
like
confused what I just watched.
the late 80s.
There are a few times where I'm confused about what I just watched, and that's one of them.
Why?
did not
Basically, the
like
point
that.
is not even pirates were immune from this,
From torture.
from rapping.
Comedy
Even
rap
Christian
torture?
puppet pirates rapped.
Yeah.
But-
When do we get a pirate on Epic Rap Battles of History?
Yeah, maybe there has been one. I don't know.
Rap Battles of History.
But the other thing is, what that reminded me of
versus
is
Captain Blackbeard. What just flew behind you, Christian? Did you not see that? It looked like a bird. Something like flew across your room.
the way Christian's eyes like. I mean, if some flew behind me, I would do the same thing.
Maybe it was like a moth. It looked like a bird. It looked friggin' huge.
What that reminded me of, though, because to me it's humorous that like a pirate character would be used to like extol the virtues of Christianity. It's the same. It gives off the same vibe of. Have you seen that thing where Jake and the Neverland Pirates, like that newer Disney show, right? There's that
we're
meme
gonna
that
watch
went
an
around a
episode
while
or something
back
at some point.
where it's them holding up like a list or a rule for pirates, and like one of the rules is a good pirate never takes another person's property.
That's the whole point.
That's
of
the definition
piracy.
of a pirate.
How
But
are
in
you
the
a
show,
pirate?
the pirates are fun, cool characters. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. What are we doing? What are we doing? Teaching kids. Do
So-
not be pirates. Do not be pirates. And then you say that they do the thing that it makes them a pirate.
Mm-hmm.
They do not do that thing.
So, in conclusion,
no sense.
I told you it wasn't worth it, and Now you believe me.
Yeah, I agree. I believe you. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Captain's Log. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you on the 10th for Captain Blood.